My name is Nancy Bird, and I'm the VP of Strategy and Business Development at United Way Waterloo Region Communities. We are United Way Waterloo Region Communities, and we are an organization that is firmly connected, grounded, and invested in the Waterloo region and making sure that residents of Waterloo region have what they need to reach their full potential. We focus on fundraising and allocating funds to organizations that do amazing work in our community. We support organizations that provide food, shelter, mental health supports, programs for children and youth, and programs that help address isolation or loneliness that's experienced by seniors or children alike. Anybody in our community who needs services, there is an agency that can support you, and United Way is working to support those agencies. We found during the pandemic that agencies that we support, individuals that we support, were experiencing more challenges than ever before. There were not the opportunities that there were before to attend programs, to raise funds by events. A lot of our agencies really struggled because they would have fundraising events that they couldn't hold this year. And we experienced the same thing at United Way. Individuals who were accessing programs, who maybe needed a little bit of support before, perhaps found that they needed even more support because people were unable to go to work while they had to stay home and help their children learn in their home, and they had to become both teacher and parent and employee, and one of those things had to give. In 2020, we were able to grant out $4.6 million to the community because of the generous donations of people, of corporations, of businesses, and of our federal government who chose to use United Ways and other organizations who know the community to distribute and administer the emergency community or the emergency crisis funds that they provided. And we were able to do that and get more money than ever out into the community, which was a real unexpected pleasure for us to be able to do. The pandemic has really heightened a lot of the issues that are in our community and really brought to the forefront inequities in what people experience in our community for a number of different reasons. At United Way, what we're trying to do to improve some of those things, to find solutions, is to work with our network of agencies, but also to ensure that we are looking more equitably at the way we fund, our processes, who we're granting to, and we know it's important to ensure that funds are going to Indigenous, Black, and people of color focused agencies, and we have a renewed effort and enthusiasm to really get behind that and make sure what we're doing is reflective, and we're supporting organizations that are reflective of our community. And we're excited about the opportunities that brings, both for United Way and for our community. Local individuals can really help United Way and the agencies that we support by making a donation, by volunteering, and by telling others that you think it's important that they do the same. We're here at the Cambridge Shelter Corporation in Cambridge. This organization provides essential services to those experiencing homelessness: shelter, food, and mental health supports to those who really need it most.
My name is Wayne Paddock, and I'm the Manager of Mental Health and Housing Services here at the Cambridge Shelter Corporation. So Cambridge Shelter Corporation started about 17 years ago when they had significant folks experiencing homelessness in the city. An organization started in the bottom of a church, which then created this lovely building that's behind us now, and they've been in this facility for about 15 years. We provide services for folks who are experiencing short-term or long-term homelessness. A lot of our clientele are folks who have significant mental health or substance use issues. So I've been a mental health nurse now for about 15 years, working in the community. I've been working in the city of Cambridge now for 8 years as a community outreach nurse. I realized several years ago that there was a need for addressing the mental health and substance use issues within our most vulnerable population. When the pandemic hit, we realized very quickly that we needed to make changes within our facility. We had to decrease our numbers from about 120 down to a maximum of 64. Currently, we have about 35 folks using our facility, and that's due to the great work of our cleaning staff, our housing team, and our management. The relationship between Bridges Shelter and United Way, I think, has been ongoing for several years, well before I came on board. Our executive director, Ann Tinker, has been working closely with United Way to access grant money, to access community funding, donations that have gone a long way to support the programming that we offer here at the Bridges Shelter.
My name's Diane Shields, and I work at Bruce Residence right now.
My name is Lindsay Shields, and I'm a resident at Bruce Residence on Concession Street in Cambridge. And now I'm also an employee of the residence, working there at night. We got kicked out of our house in Waterloo because I was in the hospital and couldn't pay the rent, and our landlord wouldn't accept any excuses. He just basically issued an order of eviction.
The Bridges put a roof over our heads and food in our stomach, and it was January, so naturally it was cold, so we managed to stay warm. And they had decent staff who listened to you talk about your problems.
There's a lot of reasons people wind up being homeless. Some they have addictions, some they have our situation where we got kicked out because we're living strictly on our pensions. It's very hard to find somewhere to live.
People in general seem to, well, I was the same way. You kind of look down on everybody that's in these things, and you don't realize that, but there are people, the circumstances are just bad. Like in our case, we just got in bad circumstances, and without it, I don't know what we would have done.
I mean, a lot of people don't have a place like this. A lot of people are living on the street, and that's not right. You know that's a problem when you've got whole buildings devoted to them.
So here at the Bridges Shelter, we're always looking for help from our community, and we're always looking to build relationships within our community. So we're asking at this time that you continue to make donations that goes towards facility upgrades, things that we're trying to do to keep our environment safe and our residents safe. Cleaning supplies are always welcome, donations of personal protective equipment. So we're always looking for opportunities to partner with organizations in our community to ensure that our most vulnerable population is kept safe. So doing this job, it's a very rewarding opportunity. It makes me feel like I'm actually giving back, and we're all very close to being in a situation such as some of our folks that are here. I always say that we're very fortunate to have what we have as working individuals and mentally well individuals. So to be able to give back to folks who have been employed at some time, had a house and had everything that we have, it's really rewarding to be able to work with them to help them get them back to that goal. So I just ask that we continue to have respect and dignity for the folks who are experiencing this right now, and that we can all work as a community to help move them forward back into a home.
We're here at Focus for Ethnic Women. This organization supports women and children in a nurturing and culturally sensitive environment to help build belonging and connection.
My name is Renu Bandari. I'm the Executive Director of Focus for Ethnic Women. And we are here to service visible minorities, immigrants, refugees, the whole BIPOC community. We provide them with programs and services that help them to reach their maximum potential, and then eventually leads them to successful integration into our communities here. We offer a range of services. We have programs for women during the day, which helps them connect with other communities. We have programs for anybody who wants to learn technology, because digital technology is for survival these days. And we also have a program for youth, young kids, and to keep them positively involved in things. The United Way has been wonderful. We came up with the idea at the request of our participants that a program was needed for youth. We realized during COVID times, a big challenge was isolation. Schools were not open, they were doing online learning, kids were bored, they were more into video games than learning, and sense of isolation was leading to unruly behavior, lack of activity, lack of meeting their friends. So we thought, what a wonderful way to then keep the kids engaged with good programs. So we approached 2 agencies in town here, and we had the modules professionally completed, but then we needed United Way to allow us to put all that into action. So we started and continued. Our program was very well attended, and now we are going to start again. Middle of September, the program begins again. So United Way has been wonderful support. The feedback has been amazing. The fact that kids give up being outside or being with their friends to come and attend this 1-hour program at 5 o'clock speaks for itself. And in fact, we have 2 of those kids who've regularly attended the program here with us, and why don't you ask them directly what they think?
The program was really fun and I met a lot of new kids and made friends.
The program had activities, we played lots of games, and we learned a lot of new things.
I learned a lot about respect and self-confidence.
If other kids are bored and they need someone to play with and meet new people, this is a really good program for them.
We believe in the richness of diversity. We believe in respecting all the cultures. And we believe in identifying the needs and then supplying the programs. And I think that's been the major success factor behind Focus for Ethnic Women.
We're here at Community Justice Initiatives in Kitchener. This organization focuses on restorative justice to help people rebuild relationships and connection.
My name is Chris Calley, and I'm the Executive Director here at Community Justice Initiatives. Our main purpose is to do restorative justice programming. Restorative justice is a new way of looking at justice, a way that doesn't sort of fall into the same old paradigm of trying to punish somebody when they've done something wrong and expect that somehow they're going to learn a lesson out of that, and that somehow makes a victim satisfied. What we actually do is we bring people together and we assist them to be able to resolve some of their own problems. We are a product of this community. And so Waterloo Region has had a rich history of being able to look at things like justice in a bit of a different way. And really, CJI sprang out of that kind of an idea that somebody looked at one particular situation that actually happened back in 1974, where some young guys had committed a crime that really affected the neighborhood in Elmira. It actually affected about 22 different people in that community. And rather than simply bringing them before a judge and having them go to jail and pay in that kind of a way, this person actually imagined that if we brought these 2 guys together with the victims of their crime, that something different might come out of it. And something did. There was some real harmony that took place that day. The people that were impacted by our direct service, where we were directly assisting them and to resolve some kind of conflict, amounts to 3,022 people in 1 year. And in addition to that, when we add up the workshops and the trainings that we do, that reach is actually expanded to over 22,000 people that are impacted by the work that we do. One of the reasons why that figure of how many people we impact is so important is that when we assist people in resolving conflict, one of the things that we've learned is that it actually builds their own capacity to be able to resolve conflict in a much smarter way moving forward. So not only have we assisted them to resolve a conflict that's outstanding in their life, but we've actually enabled them to resolve other conflicts in a more meaningful kind of way as well. So we're really changing the community, basically one conflict at a time that way. And so you would think for that kind of reach, you must have a really large organization. Well, we sort of do and we sort of don't. We're a small staff of under 30 people, but we also have 215 volunteers in our organization that carry out a tremendous amount of work. So the United Way has been a very important part of our sort of funding structure at CJI. A lot of the work at Community Justice Initiatives is not easy to explain really quickly. It's not something that people even see an immediate kind of need for. This is where the United Way has been the most helpful in being able to assist us with funding in some of the most difficult areas to get funding. One population that we work with quite a bit are those who have committed sexual offenses. Now that's a population that become very much pariahs in our society. If we choose to just make them into pariahs, and if we choose to simply stigmatize them and always act in an angry way toward them, we actually exacerbate the problem. These are people, for the most part, who actually do want to change and have the capacity to change. And our work with them has been proven over and over again through the years that these people do not reoffend. And we have them in peer support groups where they're able to work with each other and hold each other accountable in a way that makes our community safe. That's not an easy thing to go out and to raise money for. And so the United Way has been behind us in that. And as a result of that, has really resulted in our community being a lot safer kind of place. We rely hugely on people to be able to support us financially. Our organization operates with many, many volunteers. And the volunteers that we have, I would say, they're really our heart and soul. They get to do work that you wouldn't normally do in many other organizations. They're the ones that are actually being trained to do kind of mediation work, to facilitate groups, to do that. So people who are interested in that can certainly help with that. But in addition to that, I'm simply proud of the fact that so many people are willing to look at the idea of justice through a very different lens. And that's just controversial in and of itself. Whereas most people are still stuck in this idea that there really is only one way to deal with a person once they've done something wrong. If they're not punished, no good will come of it. So when people have the courage to look at that and then begin to reject the things that they see that don't work in favor of things that might seem a little counterintuitive, but then fully involve themselves in things where you really begin to see how people are helped, that takes courage as well. And so I'm proud of all of our staff and our volunteers who do this work on a daily basis.
We're here at Horizon in Kitchener. Horizon provides a variety of supports to our community. Mental health supports through counseling, financial literacy and credit counseling, and neighborhood work, building capacity right where people live, helping them build relationships and supports.
My name is Debbie Engel, and I'm the Director of Community Services for Horizon. Horizon Family and Community Services is a mental health agency that focuses on mental health and well-being for our community. And they're focused on supporting all people in the community around a sense of belonging, resilience, and wrapping services around families to ensure their mental health and sense of belonging in their community. Within the organization, we serve between 12 and 13,000 people in a year. We run 2 community centers within regional housing, and the United Way has allowed us to be able to fund those centers.
My name is Dan Young. I'm a clinical counselor with Horizon Family and Community Services. And so I work with the clinical team, so we see clients primarily individually. We see adults, we see children, we see a whole range of people in between. And we primarily help people by having them come in, and we do counseling with them. So we sit with them, we hear their stories, we try to find ways that we can help them to make positive changes to move forward. We also help by running groups. So we have a whole variety of different groups. I run one of our anger management groups where we have groups of people together to journey about learning and change.
There's a huge increase in mental health needs. So where you would typically see 1 in 5 people struggling with mental health, we're seeing 1 in 3.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have moved almost exclusively to be doing all of our counseling online, either by phone or on video. It was a significant change, and we've seen huge benefits. Personally, I can share that I miss seeing clients in person. I'm really looking forward to that opportunity to do that again soon, but I've been so thankful and so humbled by the opportunity to continue to meet with people. We've had something called the Friendly Voice Program. It's a program where people, they might not need ongoing regular counseling, but they need someone to connect with them, someone to be that feeling of community that someone cares. And I know we've had volunteers who are helping to do that, to support people in our community in those needs.
My name is Brittany Culture, and I'm a Community Services Supervisor at Horizon Family and Community Services. I also partially work with the Pathways to Education program, which works out of the Kingsdale community and the Chandler Mowat community, providing supports to families, youth, and children. We work with about 620 students who are in high school, and we work to help them explore different avenues while they're in high school. So whether that's getting part-time employment, finding spaces to volunteer, finding ways to give back to their community, with the end goal of helping them achieve success in whatever success means for them.
Only about 20% of our counseling are people who can afford to pay. So United Way's funding allows us to offer a sliding scale fee, and so families who can't afford it at all have access to counseling where they otherwise wouldn't. They also provide us with the opportunity to be connected to organizations for volunteering. So we've had volunteers from organizations such as Toyota, for example, and so funding is a piece of it, but the volunteer and the organizational connections to the larger community is a huge piece of what they bring to our community and our organization.
We're always looking for volunteers for our Pathways programs, for our snack and study programs.
And we have people who will come in and just do some of the administration or help to just lead some of the parts of the group, getting drinks ready, those sorts of things.
United Way is a perfect example of bringing organizations together. And so we have initiatives like the Children and Youth Planning Table and Wellbeing Waterloo Region that brings organizations together to increase the safety and well-being and overall mental health of our community as a whole, and together we can do that better than individually as an organization. I get pride every day from the passion and the commitment from the people that do the jobs.
I'm so grateful to be able to work with such an amazing staff team who are always out in the community, who always are building these connections and who are always looking for opportunities to be able to leverage the strengths of our community members.
Seeing people make gains are the reasons that I get up every day and go to work. I tell people every day, I love my job, I love the organization I work for, and I love the community we support because the people we support are amazing.
I'm thrilled and passionate about getting to work with Corizon. I think for me, it was a very intentional choice to be continuing to do my work with Corizon because I really do believe that mental health resources are a human right and a community good. This is something that I believe everyone should have access to. I am also really passionate about the fact that I am able to be with people at their most difficult point. I find it's just such a humbling and passion of mine that when people come in, they share stories with me that they maybe have never told anyone before, and they're able to find a safe place. And we're able to help support them to make new and better choices, or help support them in finding an emotional way of dealing with sometimes very difficult situations.
United Way is really about local solutions to local problems. Oftentimes when people are focusing on or experiencing some challenges in their lives, it's not just one problem, and we need to make sure we're wrapping around that person with whatever solutions they need. We are local fundraisers that invest in local agencies doing vital work right here in our community. We are also the second largest funder of social services in the community, aside only to government. And the money we have to distribute to these organizations which are doing such vital work comes from community donors here in our community, as well as really generous businesses and corporations that partner with us as well. You know, members of the community are a real value to all the agencies that are in our community, and they can provide support in a number of different ways. You can volunteer, you can give, and both of those things can be very easy. You can reach out to an organization like the Volunteer Action Center to help find volunteer opportunities, or reach out to an organization that you're really connected to. And giving is equally as easy.